The reason why I put this on the as a discussion item is one to get a feel of the process in which we use to determine the priority of the initiatives that we had sent, I believe, to the governor's office for what we would like to see the economic stimulus money used here in New Rochelle, and two, to kind of have a discussion for the public purposes of one, identifying those projects, and two, understanding the status of where these projects may be, and three, the likelihood of us receiving money for these different projects.
Let me tell you how this has developed. Back after the election, when we anticipated that this was going to happen in December, the Capital Budget Committee got together and developed a working process to come up with projects to include on the list. You mentioned the December 29th list of draft projects to the City Council. And the discussion on January 13th, which was actually designed to get council input, additional projects that you either wanted in, out, where you wanted them, and that was held on January 13th. On February 3rd, city officials were invited to a meeting held by the governor's staff, his regional staff, at which time we were told that we should be continuing to develop a wish list, which is really all we have right now, and we were urged to be as broad as possible and include as many projects as possible on the list, because the legislation at the federal level, you'll recall, had not been approved at that point in time. All we knew was that the money was going to flow through the state, and the state was working their way through developing a process for how the money is going to be distributed. On February 11th, or the week of the following week, we were advised that we ought to put together as quickly as possible an initial wish list to send in some sort of form, which is what you got there, which is kind of a, I don't want to say a glossy form, but it's a more robust package than we had originally put together in December. And we were told that that would be required to be sent in preliminarily at some point during that week, which we worked very hard to get together prior to when it was required, and it was sent to the City Council both in hard copy form and in email copy form the day before I went on vacation, February the 11th. It was submitted a couple of days later. There was no response from anybody on the council, at least to me, in those 2 days. Now, we didn't know it was going to be 2 days. We didn't know when it was going to be, to go in, but we submitted it, and it was sent in. February 13th, as I mentioned, is the date that the projects were submitted to the governor's office, and we thought it would be advisable at the same time to copy in our federal and state representatives. So we copied in all of our state legislators, all of our federal legislators, and we also copied in some people of New York State Economic Development Council and things of that nature. Then on the 19th of February, on the 19th, there was another informational meeting, a follow-up meeting to the previous one with the governor's staff, at which time it was suggested that we further amend the submission to take each project that we might want to have considered, and there was a form, a application project form, and just specifically put it in. So we did that on February 23rd, and then just this week, just the end of last week, we received a handbook from the state, which is a specific way that's going to be guided through the process.